Hello and welcome to episode 7 of A Yarn Tale. This is a knitting podcast. My name is Karen and I'm coming to you from Chicago, where I live with my husband, our 3 kids, and our dog Max. So, sorry, I'm just checking. I did that middle school thing where you're doing your makeup and you're putting on your eyeliner and the first eye looks really good, and then you go to do the second eye and it's a little bit thicker, so you think like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the first eye and add a little more, but then that one comes out a little more, so then you got to go back, and then before you know it, you look like Cleopatra. So sorry about that. Tried to even it out. The pandemic has been really long, so I'm a little out of practice. Okay, knitting. That's why we're here. I am wearing, let's start with that. I am wearing the Eckerd Street shawl. This is actually the shawlette by Crystal Hyatt of Millie's Knit Designs, and it was my first ever test knit. It's a triangular shawl. I did the smallest size, but I actually wish I had done a larger size just because it is so soft and squishy, and I think it might wear a little better, but it was my first test and I wasn't sure if I'd actually be able to complete it within the time frame, so I thought I would go small. So it's a triangular shawl and there's these garter panels. And then it was my first try at brioche, which it's only one color brioche, so it wasn't that bad. And it really makes the most lovely texture. And then there's these eyelet sections, and it just repeats: garter, brioche, eyelets, and then there's a garter border, and that's it. There's a larger triangular shawl size, and I think there's even a giant one that's more like a wrap. I don't know, I haven't looked at the pattern in a while, but it was a lovely, lovely testing experience. And Crystal was great, and the testing group was really supportive and humored me when I had all these questions, because I'd never even done a garter tab. I don't know what I was thinking that I had any business testing, but anyway, I did it, and it worked out great. And I wear it a lot, even though it is a little small, because I just throw it on under a jacket or just wherever. It was a really fun knit, and I think it would be super easy if you'd ever knit a shawl before. This was my first shawl, so nothing like starting with a test knit for your first one. But so that was that. I knit it out of Walcott Opus yarn. It is a sport weight and 70% merino and 30% alpaca, so it is super soft and squishy. It's in the colorway Plum, and it is so hard to show this colorway on camera. I struggled so hard to get finished object pictures. It's like a really deep purple. It's like purplish brown. It's really lovely in person. It looks kind of flat on camera, but in real life, it's great. So I would definitely knit that again. Like I said, if I knit it again, I would knit the larger size. What else? So I do have one other FO. I'm wearing it. It's kind of an FO. Well, I'll tell you what I mean about that in a minute. This is really hard to show. I probably should just insert some video, but here we are. This is my Edie tee. So this is by Isabell Kraemer. It's knit out of Quince & Co. Sparrow, which is 100% linen in the colorway Truffle. And I loved knitting it once I got used to the linen. It's a V-neck, and it's mostly stockinette with these textured bands that go around just to control the biasing of the fabric. And all in all, it fits. I think the V-neck is great. Like I said in previous episodes, I joined in the round sooner than they recommended so that the V wouldn't be too deep, like some of the people had said in their Ravelry pages. And I'm really glad that I did that, because I think this is perfect. I definitely wouldn't have wanted it any deeper, and I probably could have stood for it to be a little bit more shallow. There is an optional neck treatment that I haven't done, where you just pick up stitches all the way around and then knit and purl a few rows. I don't know, I didn't really read it, but I might do that, because if it stretches, it might end up being too deep. So I'm gonna wear it for a little bit and see how it goes. But here's my conundrum. So, okay, I picked this tee because I thought it would be more like a t-shirt, but when I knit it, it's like a tunic. I mean, like it covers my whole butt. So I don't know. It's much longer than I anticipated, but then when I was done, I measured it, and I measured spot on to the schematic. So that's on me. I mean, maybe I'm really short-waisted. I don't know. I've never noticed that before. Or maybe I just, in the picture, it is more tunicky length and it's just not really obvious from the picture. Hang on, I'm gonna actually grab the picture so we can look at it together and try to figure out what the heck happened. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. So I looked at the picture after I was done and I was like, what the heck happened? And when you look, like it is rolled up a little bit, right? So maybe it does go much longer. And then there is one more picture. I'm gonna try to show it without giving away the pattern, which is like the Karen special. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. So I'll insert a picture here so you can see, but in the second pattern picture, it is a way shorter than mine. Look at this. Well, maybe not. I don't know. My waist is here. My waist is straight up. This is super awkward. My waist is here, right? And so you do these increases at the bottom, so it's actually kind of A-line, which, I mean, no surprise, it is A-line in the schematic. You can see, right? I don't think this is giving anything away. That's the schematic. It is A-line at the bottom. I did those increases, so like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It just came out a way different shape than I was anticipating. So at first, when I finished, I was really kind of disappointed. I put it on, I was like, oh, I don't know if I wanted a tunic. I mean, I don't even wear leggings really. And I was just gonna throw this on with jeans, which I guess I could still do, but just seems kind of weird. Like you'd want, since it's kind of A-line, I would want kind of a smaller shape on the bottom. So, you know, I'd want like tighter pants, which generally are a bad idea for me. And you know, the internet tells me that skinny jeans are bad now. I don't know. They make you seem old, which I guess I am. So what are you gonna do? But I don't know. I have been wearing it around the house. I have not weaved in any of the ends because I was at first thinking I would pick out the bind off and then just, I mean, to shorten it up, I literally could I could bring it up to like here because my waist is here. Look. I could eliminate like one or even two of those stripes and then it would just be a straight tee and I wouldn't have to do the split hem at the bottom or the short rows or anything, and I don't think it would take me that long to shorten it up. So I didn't weave in the ends because I at first was thinking, well, I'll just do that. But I have been wearing it around my house with all the ends hanging out just to see how I like wearing it. And I have to say, it's kind of growing on me. It's super drapey and light and I love the color and I think it fits. I knit the right size. I mean, like there's not too much, it doesn't like gap anywhere. My sleeves, my underarms, I'm not gonna straight up show you my underarm because we're not that close. But they look so good. Like I picked up, the pattern only says to pick up a very small amount of stitches. It's like one, I think it might only be 1 or 2 stitches under the underarm. And when you split for sleeves or when you start knitting your sleeves after finishing the body. And I was like, 1 stitch or 2 stitches, it might be 2. I was like, no way. I mean, I had a pretty decent sized gap there. So I added a whole bunch of stitches. I think I might have put in like 7 or 8, I don't know, a bunch. I just kind of like picked up across and then did the same thing on the other sleeve and then immediately decreased and it looks so good. I was super proud of myself. So that was a win. I don't know. I think I am gonna weave in the ends and wash it again. I thought that linen yarn tightened up or shrunk a little bit when you wash it. I did not have that experience. It didn't really do anything at all. I mean, it did even out, you know, remember I said the V-neck, my gauge was really big and like gapey up there? I don't really notice that. So that's nice. Like it did really even out. I don't know what's going on here. Got kind of wrinkly. But it looks a lot nicer. It looks like I'm a much better knitter. So I was happy with that. But it didn't change size overall. I kind of feel like the size that I have when I knit it is kind of the size that I end up with. And I feel like it might even grow lengthwise just because of the weight of it. So I'm gonna weave in the ends and see where I'm at after I wash it and wear it a little bit. And if it really just seems like a dress, then I guess I'll rip it back and, bind it off sooner. I'm a little bit sad because the shirt was at the bottom really added a lot of time. I could have finished this like 2 weeks ago if I could have basically just ended it after the last podcast if I had recognized that the length was getting as long as it was, but whatever. That's where we are. This is the EDT. It is finished, although not all the way finished. What else? Did I say everything I was going to say about that? Yeah, I did. Okay, so I have one other half finished object. Oh, I should have got my sock blockers. Okay, I think I'm gonna go grab them. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. So I have one half finished object. This is my self-striping yarn from Nomadic Yarns, Ashley Aguilar, and I knit it toe up, which is my first time doing toe up. My heels, toes, and cuffs are some colorway that escapes me by Movers and Makers, the house yarn of Nina Chicago, my local yarn store. And this is my first afterthought heel. So yesterday I watched a million tutorials and I put 2 DPNs in and snipped the yarn and unraveled it. It was really exciting. I should have videoed it, but it was like so much to manage because I had no idea what I was doing. So I thought maybe I shouldn't video the first time I do it. But it worked out really great. I had a hard time envisioning how it was gonna work. I mean, I knew you caught your live stitches with the DPNs before you cut the yarn, so I knew it wouldn't unravel, but I kind of just didn't get how you were gonna knit a heel. And then somebody said, one of the tutorials I said, might have been Nitty Natty, I don't know. She said basically it's like you're knitting a toe at the other side. And I was like, oh, I did not see it that way, but look, it completely is a toe. So then that made tons of sense to me, and I basically didn't even have to look at the pattern anymore. I was like, oh, I'm just like decreasing at the sides just like you usually would, and it makes a magical heel. So I love it. I don't know why, and it fits really great. I was, worried because a lot of people say that they prefer a heel flap and gusset because it just stays on your foot better. But I think these are fantastic. They fit my feet. I didn't walk around in it because I only have one and I wanted to show it on the podcast. But it feels really good just initially trying it on. So I was really pleased with that. The one thing I'll say is I did ribbing at the top. I think I did 12 rows of ribbing in my contrast color, and I did a stretchy bind off. I just Googled stretchy bind off for toe up socks, and I basically did, what was it? You continue your rib, you're either knitting or purling based on the row below, but then you knit 2 together to bind off, and it is super stretchy, but I think it might be even too stretchy. Like, check it out. It's kind of flaring at the top, which I'm not really excited about. It could be because my contrast yarn is 80-20 and my self-striping yarn, I believe, is 75-25, so there is a little bit of a difference in thickness. So maybe it's just flaring a little bit because it's thicker. I don't know. I don't really care because I knit them pretty long, although I have tons of yarn left over. Hang on, why do I have none of my stuff? I'm gonna grab it. When I initially wound up the yarn, I wound it into 2 identical balls, and I thought at first that I would just knit until I ran out of yarn, but there's so much yarn in this skein that if I knit until I ran out, this is how much is left over after knitting this long sock. And I have small feet, so maybe that's why. But if I knit until I ran out, I would have like thigh highs. And I love the yarn, but then I'd have to deal with increases, because it's toe up. I didn't want to have to fiddle around with it. I'm not that good. I haven't knit that many socks. So I knit for a pretty long time, and I thought I was pretty much done. So maybe I'll make a pair of shorties because there's a ton left. This is the 50 grams, and this is what I have left. I didn't weigh it, but it's a ton. So fun things. We'll do something fun with that. So that is I'm trying to think. Did I follow a pattern? Not really. I followed the instructions for doing a toe up, for casting on for a toe up sock. It was from the Modern Daily Knitting Wanderlust book. That's a little field guide with all of the different sock patterns. And so I just followed their advice for how to do a toe, and then I just knit a straight tube and did my afterthought heel afterwards. So success! And you guys, this time I'm gonna cast on the second sock. Probably this month. Maybe, hopefully. I'm hoping to get a completed pair one of these days. So keep your eyes peeled. So I guess that's all I have for finished objects. I do have some whips, so let's get into those. I am participating in the Happy Cardi Mail. It's a make-along run by Yolanda and Jordan over at Happy Knits, and it is to make a cardigan. So I have not knit an adult size cardigan yet, so I was really excited to try it. And I am knitting the Copenhagen cardigan by PetiteKnit. It is just a simple stockinette cardigan. You don't even have to pick up for the button band. It's just some rows of ribbing up the side, and you can put in afterthought buttonholes if you want to, but a lot of people haven't. If you just look at the Ravelry project pages, a lot of people just wear it without it. So this does not look very impressive, but it's a ton of knitting. I'm actually exactly to the point where I need to separate for sleeves. I just didn't do it yet, but that's what's next on the agenda, and then I can knit back and forth for the body and hopefully power through the sleeves, because this make-along runs through July, but I'd like to sort of wrap it up in June if I could. So it is a seamless top-down cardigan with pockets. Check out those cute pockets that are just knitted in. So I'm gonna try to do that. At first I wasn't sure if I'd put them in or not. Some people said they were bulky, but I think it would be fun. I'm gonna try it out, and if it doesn't work, whatever. But I mean, it's just stockinette. I watched, she has a tutorial, except the tutorial's in Danish, I think. Is she Danish? I think the tutorial is in Danish. So I watched her do it, but I'm not entirely sure what is happening. I wish I spoke Danish. But I'm gonna try it. It doesn't sound complicated. The pattern is in English and she does write it out. So hopefully between the two of those, I can figure it out. Or me and Google Translate are gonna get really close. So got that going on. It is knit out of 2 yarns held together. It is, I'm gonna look it up so I don't get it wrong, the Isabell Alpaca 2 in the colorway 40. That's 50% alpaca, 50% wool, non-superwash. And then the Isabell Spinny, also in the colorway 40, then that's just 100% wool. It's a single ply. So it's really nice. It's light, and I think it will be pretty, it's not scratchy, even though they're non-superwash, and I haven't washed it or anything. So I think it'll be just fine. And you sort of knit from the top down, do your raglan increases, and then that's kind of it, except for the pocket conundrum. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so that's that. And then I just have 2 more. I have my Habitation throw, which I sort of hesitated to even show because I did work on it, but it's just not super exciting. Last time I don't know if you can see my stitch marker. It's right there. So I added a couple of rows. It's by Helen Stewart. It's just a garter. I think it's gonna turn out to be a square, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Garter with some eyelet rows, and you can I'm knitting it so I can use up my fingering weight scraps. So it's been really fun to just sort of collect all the scraps. I have a bunch of them here so you can see where we're going. And I don't really have a pattern, which I'm kind of struggling with it because I like to have a plan. Hang on, I got some yarn behind me. Oh, too much yarn. Oh, part of that's for the cardigan, that's why. Okay. So I have the most of these colors. I'm not gonna list off all of what everything is. I was mostly just doing it to show the colors. also have these. So that's pretty. And then here's where I struggle. I have these tiny ones from my Hisho shawl. There's like a gray, this is hard to see, and a navy, and a really, really light peachy pink. But then I also have these like whoop-ah colors. That's like Christmas red and sort of squash blossom yellow, which at first I was like, maybe I'll leave those out because they don't really go with my nice, you know, neutrally cool tones that I've got going on here. But then I thought, who cares? I kind of like this. Maybe if I can squeeze it in next to the purple and the navy, they can tone it down. Or maybe I'm trying to throw this tan color in. It's like a gray, tan, neutral. This light is really weird. Maybe I can sort of tone it down so it doesn't look so crazy. I don't know. It's been really fun just to sort of see what comes next and add in whatever. And I'm trying not to be too particular about it. I don't know. I usually am fairly particular, so it's a struggle. That's my Habitation throw by Helen Stewart. I love it. I would recommend knitting it to anyone. It's really relaxing. Once you get a hang of the pattern, you don't even have to look at it anymore. The only thing I'm worried about is kind of the pattern just says when you get to use up 45% of your yarn, then you should start the decreasing part. So you just kind of expand out until you get to where you want and then you decrease it. So there's a pretty decent chance that I will forget to do that and then just have a giant throw and not a lot of yarn to finish it. So maybe my decrease section won't entirely match my increase section because I'll be using different scraps, but it's scraps, like it's a scrappy project, who cares? It should be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Okay, and then my last whip, I'm super excited about, is my Schneeflocken. I did one sleeve of my Schneeflocken sweater by Sarah Solomon of Into the Wool. And I know I showed this last time, but I'm gonna show it in case you didn't see it. It is a top-down bottom-up colorwork sweater. There's colorwork at the hem and the sleeves and at the yoke, but then the middle part is just straight stockinette. And there's a rib turtleneck at the top. So I am knitting mine out of Brooklyn Tweed Loft in the colorway Pumpernickel is the brown. It's this beautiful deep brown, and then Fossil is the main color. And you guys, I love it. I love it. I love it. I mentioned last time my colorwork does pull in a little bit. You can see it's more narrow right there. So I knit this on size 3s all the way across. And I think I'm gonna, for the second sleeve, I'm gonna go up to a size 4 just for that, the colorwork chart. I think that'll work out better. I'm a little bit worried that that's gonna make my 2 sleeves look different. I'm gonna keep it as a 3 for the Fossil color and for the cuff, because I do like the way that turned out. I don't even know if I do try to like slip it on sometimes. It looks so good. It looks so good. Even though it pulls in, it's not at all tight. And I think if I block it out a little bit, I'm the only one that's gonna notice that. So I'll try to make it a little bit better on the second sleeve, but all in all, success. And it did not take forever because most of it's stockinette in the round on DPNs. So I don't mind that. In fact, at this point, I've increased enough that I probably could have done it on a smaller circular, but I was kind of into the groove with the DPNs and just kept on going. So I'm gonna do my other sleeve, and then we get to go to the fun part of trying to do a giant colorwork chart at the hem of the body. I'm afraid, but I'm gonna try it. And maybe I'll be able to finish this beautiful sweater by winter time. So I was very pleased with that. I love the yarn. It has not been breaking on me. It did break one time. I don't know, I caught it funny. But since it's non-super wash, you can just splice it back together, and it was really no trouble. It was great. So I would recommend it to anyone. What else do I have? That's all I've got, you guys. That's all my knitting. I have some future plans because since I got a few things off the needles last time, time to cast on some more things. So I would like to knit a sweater for my youngest daughter, who she's 5. She just turned 5. So I knit one for my older daughter, who's 6. And so, you know, if you do one for one, you got to do something for the other. Otherwise, they start getting really grumpy. So I've been looking around for kid cardigans. I really have zero interest in doing a seamed garment at this point. I seamed my first cardigan and it was kind of a bear. It worked out fine, but I had so many ends and I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't need to do that. I'll do that again later when it's not so close to the last time I tried it. So I was considering making the Dahlia cardigan by Lene. This pattern is like a book. It has a top, a dress, and an adorable cardigan. It's knit all in one piece, top down, and there's this lace detail at the yoke that is just so pretty. So you do have to do a button band, which this time I'll go down to a smaller needle, and I might even do twisted rib for the button band because my first one I thought was way too loose and floppy. Although I'm still kind of on the hunt just to see. I haven't bought yarn or anything, so if I spot another seamless cardigan that looks like it would be cute, I may consider that as well. I am also sort of considering casting on another summer tee for me because this one turned out to be a summer tunic. So I might cast on another one just so that I have something that was more along the lines of what I thought I was looking for when I cast this on. I still was thinking of doing the Rocket Tee, which I talked about in one of my last episodes, by Tanis Fiber Arts. But I also was considering, what is the name of it? Oh yeah, the Shakerag tee by Amy Christoffers, which is pretty similar to the Rocket Tee. It's not a V-neck. It is, it also has alternating stripes where I believe, I haven't bought the pattern yet, but I believe that you hold your yarn double for the more opaque stripe, and then you just have a single strand for the more transparent stripe that makes it really light and see-through, and it seems like it would be a really quick knit. So I might look into finding yarn for casting on one of those, but also I might just pick another linen tee because I do like the look of this, and I feel like I kind of got the hang of knitting with that kind of yarn. I don't think it would be much of a challenge if I just picked out like a simple, I don't know, a simple type of something. But hopefully next time we talk, we can talk about travel knitting because we are going to be renting a house for the month of July. My 10-year-old goes to camp out in Maine, sleepaway camp, and we're renting a house that's not too far away. It's like an hour away. So the rest of us and the dog can go out there for July and just get out of the city and see something new. And so I am really excited, but I also am really nervous about packing knitting for essentially 5 weeks. I don't even know how to do that. Usually I just throw a sock in the bag, or, you know, maybe my Habitation throw would do it, but I don't know. What if I run out of yarn? I mean, it's pretty close to Portland, so there are really good yarn stores, but I also don't really want to buy a bunch of stuff, so I don't know. We're gonna have to talk about that next time. Maybe I'll do a separate video about travel knitting so that we can talk it through together. I'm worried. I'm very worried because we don't have that much space in the car, and I don't think my family is planning on having a whole suitcase full of yarn. But I feel like that's what I might need, right? Tell me I'm not gonna need that. Maybe I should cast on a separate sweater or something. I can't do this now. We'll have to talk about this later. It's already making me nervous. But yeah, so that's coming down the pipe. I'm hoping, so I have 430 something subscribers, which kind of blows my mind. And I would love, love, love to do a giveaway for 500 subscribers, but I'm worried that I'm gonna be in Maine when we hit 500 subscribers. So maybe I'll pack something ahead, or maybe I'll get yarn. I'd love to give yarn away because I love yarn. And you guys love yarn, I'm sure, because that's why you're here. So either I will pack yarn to give away when I'm out there, or I will have a really good excuse to visit a yarn store in Portland and pick up something out there, or some fun goodies for you guys, to do a giveaway during the month of July for 500 subscribers. So that is coming down the pipe. I just wanted to say thank you for watching. If you're new here, I'm so glad you came, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love hearing your comments, and you know, sort of hearing what you're working on and what's going on with you. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, I am Not Fancy Knitter. That's K-N-O-T, Fancy Knitter. I'm also Not Fancy Knitter on Ravelry. So if you want to be friends, that's fine too. I'm not that active on Ravelry, but I could be. I don't know. I mean, I usually just use it for patterns and whatnot. So if you want to hook up over there, that's fine too. Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy knitting. Favorite. But I am considering, ooh, the mail came.